What's up, YouTube? It's Mike here, back with another video. I got so much going on down in the fish room and I haven't updated you guys. I feel bad. I've started a bunch of videos. I get like halfway through them, almost the whole way through the video, and then something goes wrong, something changes it. So I'm gonna update you guys on a bunch of different things that have been going on in the fish room over the past couple weeks that I haven't really got around to. First things first, let's jump back a couple weeks ago into some footage, some older footage I have. I got another aquarium, a big one. So I want to show you guys what I got. That's right, another tank. This one is 8 foot long, 30 inches wide, and 14 inches tall. Really good footprint. That was the reason why I picked this tank up. Actually, the other reason I picked it up is because it's brand new and I got a really good deal on it considering it's brand new. So I'm really excited because the footprint is so good on this. It gives me so many options for fish. The only problem is I don't have a lot of space down here left for a big tank like this. I actually did a whole video, multiple videos I should say, on setting up that aquarium. But I'm gonna skip right through all of that and show you that I put that aquarium up on top of the 1500, and a bunch of you guys on Instagram saw that I got the tank and you kind of guessed that I might put it up here. So for those of you who guessed, you guessed correct, and that's probably because I had talked about putting up a decent sized tank on top of this. When I first built the tank, I said that I wanted to do something like this. So this tank was perfect for that. However, I had a disaster, and it's kind of my own fault. So I did indeed start filling this tank, and I will show the footage of me starting to fill it for the first time and whatnot. There is a lot of details that you guys aren't gonna see. For instance, my drain system and my return system on this, I had to completely change up what I wanted to do due to a lot of things, but complications of trying to not keep the tank up too high. I couldn't really use the overflow how I wanted to. Long story, but bottom line is I did fill the tank and the tank blew out. The tank actually cracked, and that is likely my own fault from not making a good enough stand for it. I did have a thick stand and then even a sheet of styrofoam underneath the tank. All that's there. The stand itself is solid wood. It's 2 1/4 inch thick, so I didn't think I'd really have any problems with bowing. I even took the time to add in this 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch by 1/4 inch steel pieces of stock down each center brace to make sure that there was no bowing of the braces themselves. And I took a lot of precautions, but in the end, I think I did not make the stand good enough that it's actually sitting on because the tank cracked within the weir. I will say, eventually I'll get into another video on this tank that we will show the crack, and I just don't want to get up there right now. It's kind of a pain to get up there. The crack is inside the weir, and I do think that there was a weak point in the tank itself by the builder where the weir was glued in, and I'll show that in a different video. However, I still take responsibility for it cracking because I'm kind of doing shady stuff with it. It's kind of a weird spot to put a tank. I'm hanging the stand off the back, so the stand in theory probably bowed a little bit. I don't know for sure. I do know that the tank itself has a questionable weld where the crack is, so it does appear like that was already a weak point. But if I wasn't setting this up in such a weird way, it's possible that this would have never cracked. So I'm going to take responsibility for it and say it's my own fault for trying to do weird stuff with it and conserve space by putting a big tank up there. So that is that. That thing's just been sitting up there now. I don't even really want to look at it. I think what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take it down and I'm going to repair it. I do think it's repairable, luckily. I just don't know if I'm going to remount it back up there or not. I might try to put it in a different place. I'm not sure yet. But for now, I don't even want to work on it. I don't even want to look at it. It's a nice brand new acrylic tank that has now blown out, so it kind of pisses me off. Anyway, let's move on to some updates on Kevin's rays. Now, if you are new to the channel, the Center for Stingray Biology is moving, and he asked me if I could hold on to some rays for him while he moves. So that's what I did, and 4 of them are in here. So we took in this big female, this male, and this big female here, and then this female as well. And the last update I did on these guys, I was having trouble getting the larger females to eat. Now, I've had them for, I think, about a month or so now, and the first few weeks was a little weird. I couldn't really tell what was and was not eating, but I finally figured out that these 2 females and then this female, so the 3 females, I should just say, the 3 females were not eating very well. And then slowly over time, this female and this female started eating really good. So those 3 have been doing great since after about a couple weeks. They settled in and started eating. This female was doing really, really bad. If you watch videos from the video from when I picked these guys up, this female came in the worst shape. Now, she is a breeder, so she was getting picked on by the male because males are very aggressive when they're trying to breed females. So that could be very stressful for the females. She was already in rough shape, and she was very skinny when she came in. And I believe she gave birth just a couple weeks before he sent her. Although I did not see any aggression while they were here, I think she was stressed out by the other fish. So I built her this big basket here, and it has been huge success. I'm so glad I did it. I didn't want to build a basket for this tank for a lot of reasons. I think it's dangerous for other fish, especially the gar. But I needed to do something to save her. Originally, I was going to put her in this temporarily, and that was going to be like her chill spot for a while, so she could kind of settle in and I could get her eating again. But obviously that tank blew out, so I made her this real quick, and after a few days she started eating, and now she's eating extremely aggressively. So I'm going to work to get her fattened up. One problem I'm having is she'll only take earthworms. That is a pain. It's very difficult to put weight on a fish that only takes earthworms when they're this big. So I gotta convert her back over to at least taking shrimp. So I'm working on that slowly, but I'm just so happy she's eating again, because she legit, at least in my care, went at least 3 weeks without eating, and then I know she went a week before that in Kevin's care without eating, and I think she was even not eating for a while before that. So it's possible this fish did not eat for over a month. But I'm just so happy that she has been recovering. So I had a little bit of bad news there, and then I've got some good news, because we have all of the Center for Stingray Biology's rays eating well and doing well. So that makes me really happy. I did have one other problem. I got a hybrid ray from Kevin years ago that I've been growing out, and I had to move her out of the 1500 and put her in a basket as well. And to eliminate too many baskets in this tank, I put her over here. It's all the same water anyway. She is not doing well. I think she was getting stressed out by the new fish too. And forgive the tank, I have not cleaned any of this, so there's quite the biofilm buildup, so it looks a little hazy, but water quality is really good. She stopped eating, and it looks like she's developed some kind of bacterial infection. So I'm working to try to get her back and healthy again, hoping that I don't lose her. But again, this one was getting picked on. You see her tail got chewed off. And again, I'm just hoping that I can get her to recover, because she has not been doing well. So last ditch effort is to put her in a basket by herself. Nothing can bother her, and hopefully we can get her to recover. So yeah, good news and bad news there. But now I've got some really, really bad news. The 1100 gallon sprung a leak. So a lot of you guys started following me when I built this tank over 2 years ago. It's been about 2.5 years. It's actually been close to 3 years since I started building it, but it's been running with water for 2.5 years in it. No problems, never had a leak since day one of filling it, but now we do. So I tore off some of the finishing trim that I put on and figured out that it's a very slow leak from this corner. If you watch it, you can see it slowly coming out. But what's worse is I'm going to take all this stuff apart because I'm wondering if it's coming out in multiple places and not just there. I just don't know for sure. So I'm going to take all this off the front and we're going to try to get down in there and see how bad this really is. Well, sorry about the fan. Let me turn my fan off. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of this is damaged. So it must have been leaking for a while and I just never noticed it. Or at least it must have been very, very slow and I just never noticed it. What I have done is I let it dry out and I added silicone over a lot of this, and it seems to just be leaking from this corner here because I don't get any water on the floor anymore as long as I keep this here. So what I did was I siliconed this crevice so that when it leaks, it's not going to leak down in there anymore. And then I siliconed all over here, so when it leaks, it's just going to leak straight down. It's not going to touch any of this wood. The wood won't soak any of it up anymore, and it's going to go right to the floor. But for the most part, what I want to be able to do is just catch it here. It's a slow enough leak I can kind of catch it with paper towel right now. I don't know how long it'll stay slow like that, but for now, that's the way I can deal with it. So since discovering the leak, I have obviously taken all of the trim and finishing work off so I could expose the leak, and you guys saw that there was significant mold starting to grow because it was probably a very slow leak for maybe a month or so before it finally started puddling. The good news is the leak is so slow that I can manage it with a paper towel and that towel there. And the towel itself never actually seems to get wet, and the paper towel never seems to soak through either, probably because the fan is on it. So the water is evaporating basically as quick as it comes out. So very manageable leak for now, thank goodness, because I've got a lot going on right now. I think if I didn't have all of the Center for Stingray Biology's rays here, I would easily be able to just move all these fish to other tanks and drain the tank and repair it. But that is really out of the question for me right now. I'd have to set up some serious tanks, and then it's difficult to set up other tanks for monster fish in a short amount of time because the bio load is so high, it's very hard to keep another body of water stable. So the last thing I want to do is be setting up like stock tanks or anything, or temporary holding tanks, to try to manage these fish while I drain this. So my plan is, as long as the leak is slow, I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to manage it with a paper towel and make sure that we don't get any runoff. I painted all this exposed wood that I never painted before, which I should have painted it in the first place when I built the tank. I guess I got lazy and I just wanted to finish this, so I painted a lot of the other framing, but I didn't paint down here, as you guys saw before in the video. Now I have painted a lot of it. I got to go over it with one more coat because there is a lot of silicone that was rubbed over this that made the paint not really adhering well. So need another coat, but generally we're pretty good. And then what I also did, which you guys might have seen in earlier footage, was I siliconed all these crevices before I painted, just to make sure if this does leak out, that it's just going to run down here. And when I originally made the tank, I epoxied these cracks so that they couldn't take water if this ever happened. And I'm glad I did that. But I never epoxied this, so I siliconed it and painted it. So now when this does fill up with water, which you see the leak is so slow that it's not even filling up with water, it'll just run off here and ideally just come down here. And now all this wood is protected by paint. It shouldn't rot out or grow mold in the same way that it was. So hopefully we can manage this leak for the time being until I have a chance to get all the fish out and repair it. So that's really unfortunate. I did get 2.5 years out of the tank before it sprung a leak, which is pretty significant for it being really over 1,100 gallons of water in the tank itself. That is pretty good. However, I hope to get more like 5 years out of it. But, you know, it didn't happen. I think a lot of the problem is the rays have been chewing on this section of the tank, and it's exposing the silicone seams, and now water is slowly making its way into the seams and out of the tank. The good news is, again, it's slow, and it's a really good spot for it to be leaking from the window and not from the tank itself, because if it was leaking from the tank itself, that would be much more difficult to manage. So that is my updates for this week, guys. My videos have not been as consistent as they were. I want to say a year and a half at least, was uploading one video every single week. At first I was uploading on Tuesdays every single week, and then I switched to Wednesdays. So I did that for a year and a half, where I gave you guys at least one video on the channel every week. And the past few weeks I've been behind. I skipped a week, and now I skipped another week. So it's been like every 2 weeks you get one video. I apologize for the upload deficiency, or whatever you want to call it, for not getting the videos out. But I just, between fails in the fish room, problems in the fish room, and work, I just don't have the time. Work has been really stressful for me and really busy, and I've been trying to get as much done as I can. I also have a bunch of other personal things that I've been trying to get done. So my videos have been slacking, but don't lose hope. I do plan on getting back on schedule. Just no promises that it'll be right away, but my plan will be to do at least one video a week. I'd love to do 2 videos a week. I just don't have the time for that. I did try that a few months back, where I was doing 2 videos a week. It's very difficult for me to edit them. That's the biggest problem. So I get the footage, but it's really hard to sit down, take the time to really edit the videos up. So anyway, enough of my apologies and excuses. Just know that I am still here. I do plan on continuing to upload regular content, and I appreciate all of you who have been sticking with me for a while. I know a few people have reached out and been like, hey, you know, where's the videos? Where are the videos? I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep making videos, keep making fish content for you guys. And if you haven't already, I ask you please subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell for notifications. If you like the video, follow me on Instagram at Off the Deep End Aquatics, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.